I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we are reading from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, and let's focus on verses 16 through 21. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, while the house of Israel lived in their land, they defiled it with their conduct and actions. Their behavior before me was like menstrual impurity. So I poured out my wrath on them because of the blood they had shed on the land, and because they had defiled it with their idols. I dispersed them among the nations, and they were scattered among the countries. I judged them according to their conduct and actions. And when they came to the nations where they went, they profaned my holy name, because it was said about them, these are the people of Yahweh, and yet they had to leave his land in exile. And then I had concern for my holy name, which the house of Israel profaned among the nations where they went. Now imagine a special dinner with the one you love, and you spend months planning and saving up, and then the day comes and you arrive at the restaurant and you're escorted to the finest table, and you think to yourself, this couldn't be better. And just then a family is seated at the next table, and that's when you meet the most annoying child ever. An uncontrollable child pretty much ruins any event. And Israel had become God's brat among the nations. Now, I have 4 children, so my wife and I have firsthand experience with brattiness, believe me. And one thing to understand about a brat is that the blame for the child's behavior doesn't always go to the parents. Believe it or not, some kids are just simply stronger-willed than others, and they're going to be brats even if they were raised by Mother Teresa. But obviously, God does not need coaching so as to improve his parenting skills. God himself called Israel a brat. He said a stiff-necked people. Jesus expressed a similar sentiment, communicating that he wanted to gather Israel as a mother hen gathers her chicks, but they wouldn't listen. Sometimes we get so fed up with our kids that we tell them to go outside and play. We love them, but their proximity and bratty attitudes grate on our nerves so much that sometimes I wonder if we're not literally protecting them by sending them out. But suppose while the kids are outside, they continue being brats. It just gets worse, to the point where we have to come bring them back inside the house just to protect our family's reputation and our Christian witness in the neighborhood. Well, when we bring our kids back into the house in such a situation, we're not rewarding them for any change of attitude. We'd simply be protecting the neighborhood from our super brats. And this was the case with Israel's expulsion and return from exile. Could this scenario be repeated today with the brats among those who claim to be God's children through Jesus? Why not? Just because God is working around us doesn't mean that he's pleased with us, or that he isn't working despite us, or even preparing to spank us. Ezekiel 36, verses 22 and 23, therefore say to the house of Israel, this is what the Lord God says. It is not for your sake that I will act, house of Israel, but for my holy name, my reputation, which you profaned among the nations where you went. I will honor the holiness of my great name, which has been profaned among the nations. The name you have profaned among them. The nations will know that I am Yahweh. The declaration of the Lord God, when I demonstrate my holiness through you in their sight. Now think about this and wonder, how is the Lord using the church? And are we an example of what he can do with a life? Are we an example of how far his grace and mercy will go before he judges even his own kids? You know, God will spank his kids in Walmart so that his name will be exalted again as holy. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we need your monthly support. Donating is secure and easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. You know, another way to help is just tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.